Before we begin, I thought it would be fun if everyone lets me know in the comments where they're watching this video from. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. Now, let's start today's episode. During the summer of 2023, Canada once again faced a devastating wildfire season that left a profound mark on the nation. The relentless flames spread swiftly, consuming vast stretches of land and turning lush forests into barren, charred remains. Yet, amid this destruction, an unusual and inexplicable event unfolded in the skies over British Columbia, adding an element of mystery and wonder to the crisis. As the fires raged on, the night sky above the affected areas became the backdrop for something extraordinary. The story begins on a tranquil evening when a budding stargazer embarks on a peaceful exploration from their own backyard. Living in a place where the night sky remained untouched by city lights, they had the perfect vantage point to admire the celestial wonders above. They had spent countless hours using their telescope to track the wildfires, closely observing the billowing smoke and eerie glow that illuminated the distant horizon. However, on this particular night, they witnessed something beyond anything they had ever imagined. Instead of the usual scenes of destruction, their eyes fell upon an astonishing sight, an extraordinary beam of light piercing through the sky. Stunned by the spectacle, they immediately called for their companion, urging them to witness the breathtaking phenomenon alongside them. Eagerly, their partner hastened outdoors, drawn by the allure of the scene that awaited them through the lens of the telescope. As their gazes converged upon the tumultuous setting, a sense of awe overwhelmed them. At that moment, observers were experiencing an extraordinary sight, a focused beam of directed energy in the form of a laser. Although the exact origin of the laser was concealed by the surrounding smoke, its intention was unmistakable. It wasn't only the individuals mentioned earlier who witnessed these enigmatic beams appearing in the sky. In a matter of moments, numerous individuals captured the captivating spectacle using their mobile phones and promptly shared the mesmerizing videos on various online platforms. The images quickly went viral. Since the onset of the fires, a range of hypotheses has emerged, aiming to shed light on the circumstances surrounding the incidents. Numerous observers who caught sight of the image affirmed that the beam was clearly visible as it made contact with the raging wildfires. In a vivid spectacle, a considerable portion of the lush forest is observed billowing copious amounts of smoke, triggering a wave of concern among the nearby residents. Consequently, the local population promptly commenced relocating from the vicinity as a precautionary measure. Surprisingly, the person responsible for capturing the image made a peculiar revelation while perusing their collection of photographs. It wasn't until they examined their photo album that they stumbled upon a rather extraordinary occurrence in one of the pictures, a formation resembling a laser beam. It has been posited by certain individuals that these occurrences are simply natural phenomena, a result of regular weather fluctuations. According to alternative viewpoints, some individuals have taken a divergent route by proposing that the beam in question is of human origin. Based on statements from military officials, it has been confirmed that energy beams, commonly referred to as energy weapons, are indeed real. These sophisticated weapons function by harnessing and concentrating electromagnetic energy, which is then directed towards a specific target. The concept behind these weapons revolves around the principle of delivering highly focused energy to inflict damage or incapacitate the intended subject. Unlike conventional kinetic weapons that depend on physical projectiles, this innovative arsenal utilizes directed energy beams, which possess the remarkable characteristic of being able to travel at the speed of light, ensuring near instantaneous engagement with targets. These advanced weapons emit concentrated bursts of energy, allowing for superior precision and effectiveness. Energy weapons have a wide array of uses in multiple fields, encompassing the military, space exploration, and civilian applications. These advanced weaponry systems have the potential to significantly impact various industries and sectors. In the domain of military operations, these technologies offer numerous benefits that contribute to strategic advantages. They include precise targeting capabilities, minimizing unintended harm to civilians or infrastructure, and a seemingly infinite ammunition supply. These advantages stem from their reliance on energy sources, such as electricity, negating the need for traditional physical munitions. While it may sound like a plot straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster, it is a reality that the United States Department of Defense allocates over $1 billion annually to the research and development of directed energy weapons, also known as concentrated electromagnetic energy weapons. According to local residents, the source of the mysterious energy beam must have been incredibly powerful, given the significant impact it had on the surrounding area. When some ventured to the site of contact, they discovered a noticeable cavity in the ground, suggesting an immense force had been at play. The presence of such a distinct crater serves as compelling evidence of the sheer intensity behind this enigmatic energy source. Directed energy weapons have long been a subject of intrigue and speculation within the realm of military technology. These advanced weapon systems function by generating and directing high-intensity energy beams, with the potential to revolutionize modern warfare and redefine the nature of combat itself. Throughout history, major technological breakthroughs, such as the invention of gunpowder and the development of nuclear weapons, have transformed the battlefield. Now, with cutting-edge laser technology at the forefront, these state-of-the-art systems could usher in a new era of warfare, fundamentally reshaping military strategies. In a recent update, the United States Navy's Pacific Fleet announced a significant advancement in high-energy laser weaponry, marking a crucial step forward in this groundbreaking field. This advanced weapon system has undergone successful testing and has shown remarkable capabilities in neutralizing airborne aircraft. The laser weapon proves to be highly effective in rendering aircraft ineffective and inoperative during flight. This remarkable progression highlights the unwavering commitment of the Navy to bolstering their defenses. The laser's remarkable capability and exceptional accuracy make it an unprecedented breakthrough in military advancements and strategies for safeguarding against aircraft threats. In a recent update released by the Navy, it has been disclosed that the USS Portland, a groundbreaking vessel with a primary focus on amphibious transportation, has accomplished a remarkable feat by successfully utilizing a state-of-the-art solid-state laser system to disable an unmanned aerial drone. This achievement marks a significant milestone for naval warfare and highlights the Navy's commitment to embracing innovative technologies in combat. The Navy has graciously provided a wide-ranging assortment of visually captivating images and videos, which serve as compelling and vivid demonstrations of the seamless incorporation and effective utilization of this groundbreaking technology. The visual representation portrays a formidable military vessel emitting a highly intense laser beam from its outer surface. This striking image captures the sheer power and advanced technology employed by the vessel. The Navy recently conducted a comprehensive and in-depth test of the laser weapon system demonstrator in the expansive Pacific Ocean. This state-of-the-art technology was put through its paces, demonstrating its capabilities in a vast and challenging environment. The exact site where the test occurred has purposely been withheld to maintain confidentiality. This decision was made to ensure the security and integrity of the information. In a highly comprehensive report released in 2018, the International Institute for Strategic Studies provided a detailed analysis of a specific weapon, although they chose not to explicitly disclose its exact power. This in-depth study aimed to enhance our understanding of the weapon's capabilities and its potential impact. Despite the incident, there were conjectures that emerged indicating that the laser under consideration possessed the capability to reach an extraordinary level of power reaching as high as 150 kilowatts. This speculation sparked discussions and debates about the immense strength and potential applications of such a laser. The primary objective of this report was to offer an extensive and in-depth examination of the topic, delving into the multiple facets and ramifications of this state-of-the-art innovation. The intention was to provide a comprehensive understanding by exploring the subject matter from various angles and shedding light on its diverse implications. According to Captain Kerry Sanders, who serves as the commanding officer of the USS Portland, he emphasizes the importance of conducting rigorous tests in maritime environments to comprehensively evaluate the solid-state laser weapon system demonstrator's efficacy in neutralizing unmanned aerial vehicles and small boats. The captain believes that such tests will provide invaluable and essential insights into the system's abilities to effectively counter potential threats. Some have suggested that the mysterious laser-like formations are fire tornadoes. Fire tornadoes, commonly referred to as fire whirls or firanados, are extraordinary displays of nature that evoke both fear and amazement. These colossal manifestations of fire are recognized for their mesmerizing whirlwinds of blazing flames and billowing smoke, challenging conventional comprehension of fire dynamics and atmospheric factors. Fire tornadoes extend myriads of intriguing aspects, making them a subject of great fascination and study. Fire tornadoes originate from the tumultuous combination of extreme temperatures, powerful gusts of wind, and the convection currents of a fire. The immense heat produced by a substantial wildfire has the ability to generate localized updrafts, causing the air to ascend rapidly. As this rising air interacts with the swirling winds, a rotational motion occurs in a horizontal plane. Once this horizontal spin is tilted vertically, a fire tornado commences its formation. A fire tornado, also known as a fire whirl, is a rare meteorological phenomenon characterized by a vertical column of intense flames encircled by a spinning vortex of smoke. Differentiating between fire whirls and fire tornadoes is crucial. Fire whirls, which are smaller in size compared to fire tornadoes, can be likened to fiery whirlwinds that gracefully twirl around flames. In contrast, fire tornadoes are characterized by their towering presence and prominently displayed vertical column of swirling flames. The distinction lies in their respective scale and intensity, with fire whirls showcasing a more modest and subdued manifestation, while fire tornadoes exhibit a significantly grander spectacle. Fire tornadoes, also known as fire whirls, present a truly disconcerting characteristic: their unpredictable behavior. These swirling infernos have an alarming tendency to appear suddenly, moving unpredictably in ways that defy logic. What makes them especially dangerous is their ability to leap effortlessly over fire breaks and roads, further complicating the already difficult task of firefighting. Fire tornadoes can generate extreme heat, exceeding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is intense enough to ignite flammable materials even at considerable distances from the fire's leading edge. The destruction they leave behind can be catastrophic, wiping out entire communities and landscapes in their path. One of the most concerning aspects of fire tornadoes is their ability to lift glowing embers and burning debris high into the air. These fiery remnants can travel great distances, sparking new fires and accelerating the wildfire's spread. This process often leads to the formation of secondary firestorms, making containment efforts even more challenging. In addition to battling the primary blaze, firefighters must also contend with these rapidly spreading secondary fires, increasing both the complexity and danger of their mission. If you're fascinated by unsolved mysteries and enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up to stay updated on all our latest content. Moving on to the next mystery. February 2008 marked a significant moment in UFO sighting history when a series of extraordinary events unfolded over a small Turkish village, capturing global attention. The sighting began as dozens of villagers observed mysterious lights and a hovering object in the night sky. Witnesses described it as a disc-shaped craft with bright lights that pulsed and changed colors. For hours, the UFO remained suspended in the air without making a sound, seemingly defying the laws of physics and leaving the onlookers in awe and disbelief. Turkey has a deep-rooted history of unexplained aerial phenomena, with sightings dating back centuries. However, between February 2007 and February 2009, a series of unusual occurrences took place in the country's northwest region. Strange objects were repeatedly spotted over the sea, witnessed by numerous locals. During this period, a significant video was captured showing an unidentified object hovering in the same location. Many residents have shared their accounts of encountering UFOs, often describing them as disc or oval-shaped crafts moving through the sky. These aerial objects had a distinct metallic appearance and demonstrated silent maneuvers, occasionally accompanied by peculiar red and orange lights. The witnesses comprised a mix of individuals residing in the nearby housing complex and intrigued onlookers, including fishermen. Fascinatingly, in February 2009, following a UFO conference held close to Istanbul, Roger Lair and a group of 7 to 8 people personally experienced a sighting. Under the luminous glow of a bright moon, they witnessed a mysterious disc-shaped object lingering in the heavens. Notably, Roger Lear himself observed Yeltsin capturing video footage of this anomalous object in the sky. Prior to his demise, he was interviewed multiple times regarding this remarkable event, further establishing the credibility and significance of the incident. Reports were filed with the Sirius UFO and Space Science Research Group, which is Turkey's primary UFO reporting organization run by Haktan Aktagan. Also, the videos were analyzed by the Scientific and Technology Research Board of Turkey and Tug National Observatory, which are both sponsored by the state and highly influential. They reviewed the originals with the goal of finding evidence of a forgery, but interestingly came away with results that actually supported the authenticity instead. The original film cassettes have also been studied by people from the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, Chile, and Brazil. After several attempts so far, nobody has been able to successfully demonstrate evidence of a hoax, fraud, or manipulation, leaving the case as an unsolved mystery. The previous year, between May 22nd and September 28th, a series of unusual aerial phenomena were witnessed and documented in the vicinity of Yeni Kent facility on the shore of Kumbagas. Yeltsin, who was working the night shift at the facility, had a privileged vantage point which allowed him to witness these sightings. As word spread, the local residents became increasingly intrigued, resulting in a growing number of people taking notice. The February 2008 sightings, reminiscent of those in February 2007, received significant attention in the Turkish national media, including news networks from the United States. This, in turn, sparked the interest of the Turkish scientific and astronomy community, who took the initiative to thoroughly analyze the captured footage. The following day, a mesmerizing sphere of glowing orange and red plasma-like light hovers effortlessly in the sky, appearing motionless for an extended period of time. Its radiant brilliance casts a vibrant reflection upon the calm surface of the water, creating a breathtaking visual spectacle that captivates the onlookers. Just 4 days after the initial sighting, another distinct orange glowing object is witnessed. Shortly thereafter, a peculiar craft depicted in the image provided below is captured on film. Interestingly, there appears to be a horizontal movement that causes a noticeable shift in light and shadow across the entire structure. This observation raises intriguing questions about the nature and behavior of these unidentified aerial phenomena. Upon reviewing the unedited video footage, a distinct elongated anomaly can be seen hovering just above the water's surface. Yeltsin, the individual who captured the footage, effectively used the camera's zoom function to provide both close-up and wide-angle shots. One prevailing theory suggests that the object could be part of a cruise ship. However, an examination of the object's position in the sky, along with ship logs and records, indicates that no vessels were present in that area at the time of the sightings. A deeper analysis has uncovered multiple factors that challenge the validity of the cruise ship theory. Astronomers often use the moon as a reference point to estimate the angular elevation of objects in the night sky, such as aircraft and celestial bodies. A standard rule states that the moon's angular diameter is approximately 0.5 degrees, meaning 2 moon widths equal 1 degree. On May 17th, both the moon and the unidentified object were filmed within the same frame for several minutes, providing a crucial point of reference for further analysis. This can be used to see how far the object was above the horizon. It could theoretically decide if it was too high in altitude, or if the object was on the horizon. It could support the cruise ship theory. When filming both the moon and an object in conjunction, this particular scenario provides a valuable opportunity to estimate the angular elevation of the object above the horizon. The Turkey UFO Case website used Stellarium, a highly popular planetarium software among astronomers, and this allows users to observe celestial alignments of stars and planets from any location on Earth, either in the present or the past. In this specific case, they inputted the precise coordinates of the camera's position on May 17, 2009. Analysis of the footage reveals that at 6 minutes past 3, the moon appeared approximately 12.3 degrees above the horizon when observed from the camera's location. This information, captured in detail, provides a comprehensive understanding of the specific celestial positioning during that precise moment in time and space. According to a widely accepted astronomy principle, it is established that when the diameter of two moons is combined, it measures up to 1 degree. This fundamental rule serves as a valuable tool for measuring celestial objects and phenomena. Examining the given scenario below, it becomes evident that the unidentified object captured in the video was positioned approximately 7.9 degrees above the horizon. This information not only highlights the significance of the astronomy rule, but also underscores its practical application in analyzing celestial observations. According to Alcyone's assertion, if a ship is situated far beyond the Earth's curvature, it would give the illusion of being significantly lower on the horizon compared to its actual position. Once the measurements have been established, we can now proceed to visualize the appearance of the unidentified object at that specific moment. It is important to note that based on the data, the object's position relative to the horizon suggests that it is highly unlikely to be a cruise ship or yacht. According to Alcyone's claims, the object in question was the bridge of a cruise ship, but it is highly unlikely due to its proximity to the shore and shallow waters. The measurements suggest that the unidentified object was positioned too high above the surface, contradicting Alcyone's theory. This discrepancy challenges the validity of Alcyone's claim and raises doubts about the accuracy of their assessment. Examining the scenario more deeply, it becomes evident that the object's height could not be attributed to a cruise ship's bridge, as it would be too high in the sky. The designated marina utilized for accommodating cruise ships that visit is known as the Port of Karakoy. However, it is worth noting that this marina is situated in the Bosphorus Strait, which unfortunately cannot be visually observed from the specific location of the observer. The Automatic Identification System, AIS, is a widely used global tracking system designed to assist vessel traffic services in electronically exchanging ship data for identification and location purposes. This system operates through AIS transponders, which utilize VHF radio signals to periodically transmit a vessel's position. By relying on GPS, the system provides precise information about a ship's location and speed. With its extensive coverage and detailed tracking capabilities, AIS plays a vital role in maritime operations by improving the monitoring of vessel movements and ensuring efficient traffic management. Below is a comprehensive compilation of AIS vessel traffic reports for the Sea of Marmara on May 13th and May 15th, 2009. These reports contain detailed records for each vessel, including call signs, observation dates and times, latitude and longitude coordinates, and wind speed at the time of observation. If a cruise ship or yacht had been present at the specified sighting location, it would have been included in the list. While several vessels were detected in the Bosphorus Strait, some in the Black Sea and others beyond the camera's range to the east or west, there is no evidence indicating the presence of a cruise ship or yacht within the camera's field of view at that moment. This thorough analysis provides valuable insight into maritime activity in the area while also confirming the absence of specific types of vessels within the recorded footage. Upon careful examination, it has been determined that at precisely 3:59 in the morning on the May 13th, 2009, no conclusive evidence exists to substantiate the presence of either a cruise ship or a yacht within the visual range of the camera. In addition, it should be noted that during the time the footage was captured, there were no other vessels, such as tankers, fishing boats, or bulk carriers within sight or in the immediate vicinity. In the country of Turkey, there have been no reports or accounts from residents who claim to have witnessed the presence of a cruise ship or yacht in the area. Considering the extensive media coverage surrounding this issue in Turkey, it is surprising that no one has stepped forward to confirm the existence of a cruise ship in the area. According to Turkish researchers and Yalçın Yalman's statements, it has been determined that the videos captured on July 30th, 2007, August 31st, 2008, and May 14th, 2009 were not recorded near the sea, but rather on land. This finding holds value as it sheds light on the location where these intriguing sightings took place. Interestingly, on the May 14th, 2009, this peculiar event occurred in front of a sizable gathering of individuals attending a conference situated miles away from any oceanic vicinity. By carefully examining these videos captured overland, we are presented with compelling evidence that challenges the notion of a cruise ship being involved in these occurrences. This means that the conventional assumption of these sightings being connected to maritime activities can be discounted. The original footage captured a remarkable phenomenon, a luminous ball of light that gradually transformed into a dome-shaped craft. The recording took place in a condominium owned by Yelchin's father, situated several blocks away from the waterfront. It is worth noting that the condominium is situated at a significant distance from the sea, adding to the intrigue and mystery surrounding the sighting. Upon careful examination, the luminous ball of light exhibited a mesmerizing transformation. Throughout the course of history, there have been numerous instances where orange luminous spheres have been frequently observed in conjunction with unidentified flying objects. Despite ongoing investigations, the exact reasons behind their presence continue to elude us. In the case of Yeltsin's film, which has garnered attention, it is intriguing to note that it comprises multiple sequences showcasing these captivating light orbs. Notably, these luminous phenomena appear either during, just before, or immediately after the sightings of other unidentified objects, thus bolstering the curiosity surrounding their existence. Furthermore, eyewitness testimonies recounting the presence of these enigmatic orange balls strongly support their reality. Considering various straightforward aspects, it becomes highly improbable for these peculiar orange light balls to be attributed to the presence of a cruise ship. The factors contributing to this improbability are multifaceted and undeniable. During the period of heightened UFO sightings in February 2008, specifically on June 9, Yeltsin and several other individuals had the remarkable opportunity to witness an extraordinary occurrence. The occurrence of the orange light phenomenon typically occurred at the same specific location, either during, shortly before, or right after the presence or movement of other objects. This observation suggests a notable correlation between the orange light occurrence and the neighboring objects. During the extraordinary wave that occurred in February 2008, local residents reported regular sightings of unidentified objects. One particularly notable incident took place on July 4, 2008, when an unexplained light was captured on film from 5:20 in the morning to 5:53. It is important to consider various visual factors that strongly indicate a cruise ship or yacht is highly unlikely to be the cause of this phenomenon. Firstly, the unexplained light appeared to be positioned significantly above the horizon, making it implausible for it to be originating from a boat. In the early hours of the same day, specifically at 2:43 in the morning, an intriguing phenomenon occurred above the vast expanse of the sea. This peculiar event involved the appearance of a circular or disc-shaped object, captivating the attention of those who were fortunate enough to witness it. During the events of July 4, 2008, an interesting observation was made as both sequences were recorded in the exact same location. This intriguing coincidence raises the possibility that the object being filmed in both instances could potentially be one and the same. In recent interviews, Yeltsin Yalman has expressed that the segment of July 30, 2007 was captured from the open-air balcony of his father's condominium, which is located a few blocks away from the Yeni Kent facility situated on the beautiful beaches of Kumbagas. On that occasion, Yalman initially observed a peculiar anomaly in the form of a dome appearing in the far distance. Initially, the videos underwent a meticulous examination supervised by Haktan Aktagan, a distinguished Turkish researcher and the director of the Sirius UFO and Space Science Research Center. Haktan diligently interviewed each witness independently and subsequently proceeded with a thorough analysis of the videos. Collaborating with the esteemed members of their science board, they employed advanced techniques to magnify the images, meticulously scrutinized every pixel, and meticulously examined each frame in intricate detail. This comprehensive endeavor aimed to ensure a comprehensive understanding and in-depth analysis of the videos, enriching the overall investigation. Haktan Aktagan said the following: "After doing all the necessary analysis, which went on for several weeks, the board came to a definite conclusion with no doubt that these are 100% genuine videos. The objects cited in the aforementioned footage that have a structure that is made of specific material are definitely not made up by any kind of computer animation, nor are they any form of special effects used for simulation in a studio or for a video effect. Therefore, in conclusion, it was decided that the sightings were neither a mock-up or hoax. And it is concluded that these objects in the sightings that have physical and material structures do not belong in any category such as planes, helicopters, meteors, Venus, Mars, satellites, fireballs, Chinese lantern, fireballs, weather balloons, natural or atmospheric phenomenon, but rather fall into the category of UFOs. End quote. Given that the most remarkable aspects of the case revolve around the alleged presence of extraterrestrial beings in the recorded footage, the focus of observation primarily centered on the central area of the unidentified object. According to the witness, this is where he claimed to have seen someone, which has been interpreted as the presence of occupants or a crew. In a summary, the information gathered from the case suggests that a door or window of some sort could be located in the center of the object. At times, this opening appears to remain unclosed, providing a glimpse of two distinct heads, which are assumed to belong to the elusive extraterrestrial occupants. In a more comprehensive analysis, it is worth noting that these findings emphasize the significance of the central region of the unidentified object. It is believed that this area serves as a point of entry or exit, allowing for potential observations or interactions with the occupants. The uncovered details from this case shed light on the intriguing nature of the encounter, expanding our understanding of the phenomenon. The sequence depicts with commendable clarity the specific moment in which one of the figures exhibiting what appears to be humanoid characteristics lifts its gaze and fixates its gaze directly ahead for a fleeting interval of time. The visual analysis reveals a distinct head-like structure featuring two relatively large, dark eyes. Additionally, upon closer inspection, a portion of the figure's body, possibly a small torso, can be faintly discerned in relation to the head. In this particular image, a single-level filter was applied to enhance brightness, aiming to maximize the retrieval of details captured by the camera while maintaining the image's overall quality. Despite extensive examination, the Turkey UFO incident remains a topic of intense debate. Ship records confirm that no cruise ships were present in the area at the time of the sightings. Furthermore, after zooming in on the footage, many observers claim to see humanoid figures inside the craft. To this day, the Turkey UFO incident continues to be an unsolved mystery, fueling ongoing speculation and intrigue. Moving on to the next mystery. A nearly 47-year-old mystery has finally been solved. On June 5, 1976, 16-year-old Carol Sue Klaber was found strangled to death, shocking both her family and the entire northern Kentucky community. Despite years of investigation, authorities were unable to find any leads or suspects, leaving the case cold. However, thanks to advancements in technology, the truth has finally come to light. How did the perpetrator manage to evade justice for so long? Welcome back to Mystery Detective, where we explore baffling cases from around the world. Today, we'll be delving into the chilling case of Carol Sue Klaber, which remained unsolved for 47 years before finally being cracked in 2024. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to support us in creating more gripping true crime content. Now, let's jump right into this mystery. Boone County, located in Kentucky, is where this tragic case unfolded. Established in 1798 and named after the legendary frontiersman Daniel Boone, Boone County is the fourth most populous county in the state. It is also home to the Cincinnati/Northern Kentucky International Airport, a major transportation hub in the region. Burlington is the county seat of Boone County, an area known for its rich history, scenic outdoor spaces, and thriving agricultural industry. However, in 1976, this peaceful region became the setting for a tragic and shocking crime. On November 28, 1959, a baby girl was born in Kentucky, bringing joy to her parents, Daniel Henry Klaber and Betty Jane Meekraneker. Overjoyed, they named her Carol Sue Klaber. Her older brother, Thomas Klaber, watched in awe, eager to welcome his little sister into the family. Carol had a wonderful sense of humor and a kind heart, always showing compassion for those in need. Despite her young age, she was remarkably humble. At just 16, she dedicated her time to volunteering at St. Charles Nursing Home. In her childhood, she had also been a brownie and a Girl Scout, embodying a spirit of service from an early age. She loved to sew, cook, play records, and listen to music constantly. She began taking piano lessons when she was 5 years old. Carol was chosen by her piano teacher, Hattie Schatzman, to represent her students at the Ohio Music Teacher Association, while she was also learning how to play the violin. She had performed 2 times at the Taft Museum. She was a beloved member of the Dixie Heights High School String Ensemble, thanks to her love of music and natural talent, and her classmates were drawn to her outgoing and kind nature. Sadly, her family, friends, and teachers won't be able to see much of her talents anymore, as a tragedy soon befell Carol. On June 5, 1976, as the sun rose and shined brightly over the Kentucky town of Union, Dr. Gaines Huey, a respected Walton dentist who was ready to attend to his patients' dental needs, left his home early in the morning as the neighborhood's residents started their days as usual. As Dr. Gaines traveled down Chamber Road, he noticed something unusual at the road's edge. He soon stopped his car out of curiosity and moved toward the thing. It wasn't until he was close enough that he realized what he had discovered. There was a body lying eerily still next to a culvert that served as a rainwater drainage pipe. Dr. Gaines, who was in a state of shock, immediately dialed the Kentucky State Police with trembling hands. Jan Wuchner just so happened to be working that day. Jan Wuchner, an experienced detective who had previously worked for the Boone County Sheriff's Department, hurried to the scene in order to solve the mystery surrounding the dead body that was lying by the roadside. Around 7:15 a.m., detectives from the Walton State Police Department arrived at the crime scene. With a keen eye for detail, their eyes swept the area where the body was. The detectives started their investigation after spotting the obvious indications of a struggle. Broken twigs and trampled grass suggested a violent altercation between the victim and her attacker. After being viciously attacked, the victim, who was a female, was strangled to death. As their sense of dread increased, the investigators grimly realized that this was a murder rather than a random act of violence. Despite their best efforts and their determination to search every possible angle in their pursuit of justice, the investigators were unable to uncover any tangible evidence at the crime scene. They then settled to look for information on the victim's body. Her body was taken to the county medical examiner's office so that a thorough autopsy could be performed. The medical examiner meticulously performed an autopsy, searching every square inch of the victim's body for clues. Every wound, scrape, and cut was meticulously recorded, and each hint was carefully examined. The gruesome details of her death were made clear by the autopsy findings. According to the evidence, she had endured a brutal beating. Her body was marked by the obvious effects of a tire iron used with relentless force. The once beautiful face was now deformed by swelling and bruising, and the examiner observed the woman's deep scalp wounds, which were probably caused by a blunt object. She had suffered an irreparable head injury from the crushing blow, which had tragically and prematurely ended her life. There were also clear signs of physical violence and abuse. It was a devastating moment for everyone involved when the cause of death was determined to be asphyxiation caused by manual strangulation, along with blunt force trauma to the head. The brutality of the crime gave the investigation a renewed sense of urgency. While analyzing the evidence at the scene, investigators discovered traces of foreign DNA on the victim's clothing. They attempted to match it to a suspect using the available technology at the time, but were unsuccessful. However, they carefully preserved the evidence, hopeful that advancements in forensic science would eventually lead to a breakthrough. Their patience and dedication paid off. Using DNA collected from the victim's body, detectives eventually located her brother. Summoning every ounce of courage, he stepped forward to identify her. At just 23 years old, Thomas Klaber entered the morgue and stood before his sister, Carol Sue Klaber, whose lifeless body rested on a cold metal table. Tears streamed down his face as he realized he would never again see her bright smile or hear her infectious laughter. The weight of his grief was unbearable. The investigators searched every possible lead as the investigation developed. They scoured the neighborhood, knocking on doors, talking to locals, and gathering any details that might shed light on the tragic incident. In order to understand Carol Sue Klaver's life and potential enemies better, they also dug deeply into her past and spoke to her family and friends. The investigators discovered that for the Claiborne family, June 4, 1976, was a typical day. Getting on her bike, Carol Sue Claiborne, a 16-year-old carefree teen, got on her bike and pedaled around town with a smile on her face as the wind blew her hair. She said hello to the neighborhood residents, talked with friends, and enjoyed the warmth of the summer day. She has arranged to meet a friend at Zeno's Hyde Park restaurant later on in the evening. She left her house at 5:30 p.m., but as dusk fell, a young man driving a swanky Chevrolet Monte Carlo followed Claiborne back to her house. One of the neighbors claimed to have caught a glimpse of the young man, who was towering at 6 feet tall with a slim build. He had sandy blonde hair. The man and Carol spoke briefly before Carol entered the home, leaving the man outside in anticipation. A short while later, Carol came out from the house, hopped in the car, and left with the man. That appeared to have been the last time anyone would ever see Carol alive again. The murder of Carol Sue Claiborne went unsolved despite the investigators' best efforts to find the owner of the suspected vehicle. The case wasn't moving ahead, and every lead had been exhausted, leaving the detectives baffled. The case eventually became unsolved, and it remained that way for more than 40 years. A ray of hope appeared in the Carol Sue Claiborne murder investigation after years of no progress. Coy Cox and Timothy Adams, two cold case detectives from the Boone County Sheriff's Office, gave the case new life in 2017. In their relentless pursuit of the truth and justice for Carol Sue Claiborne, these two detectives teamed up with Jerry Keith, the first detective on the case, who had kept it so dear to his heart even after retiring. The trio used cutting-edge technology to work nonstop. In order to put together a fresh perspective on the tragedy that had baffled them for years, they painstakingly went through the old evidence, speaking with witnesses and sifting through leads. The two top suspects that Keith had earlier named were the focus of their initial investigation. The first suspect was a man with a history of auto theft, whose car had a startling resemblance to the one Carol was last seen in. The detective targeted this man and examined him closely in an effort to elicit any useful information from him. The man, who was a suspect in the investigation, denied any involvement in Carol's killing. He disclosed his past crimes to the detectives as he opened up to them, but he steadfastly maintained his innocence in Carol's murder. In order to compare his DNA to the DNA that was discovered in 1976 from the victim's clothing, collected his DNA. The results of the DNA analysis arrived in December 2018 after a long wait. Finally, Detectives Cox and Adams called the man to let him know that his DNA results were negative and he was no longer a suspect in Carol's murder. On hearing this, the man realized he could finally breathe easily and begin his life afresh. He felt as though the weight of the world had been lifted from his shoulders. Following the DNA results, Cox and Adams returned to their tenacious hunt for the murderer. They were back at square one because the leads on their initial suspect had run dry. Then, in 2020, they made the decision to turn to their second suspect, who had already been found guilty of a vicious sexual assault in the same neighborhood just 2 years prior to Carol's murder. In 2020, he was 77 years old and went by the name Michael Dean Tate. Cox and Adams contacted Michael Dean Tate's assault victim from 1978 for her account of the assault as they worked to establish their case against him. She chose not to disclose her name, but she vividly recalled that night. She described the terrifying darkness of Park Hills on October 1, 1978, when she was brutally attacked in her own garage around 2 a.m. Despite her desperate attempts to resist and scream, her attacker seemed to derive twisted satisfaction from her suffering. After enduring 2 hours of torment, the assailant finally fled, leaving her injured but alive. It took years for her to heal from the physical and emotional scars Tate had inflicted on that dreadful night. Upon discovering Tate's involvement in the 1978 case, Cox and Adams were compelled to consider whether he might also be linked to Carol's murder. Given that Tate frequently traveled to the area for work throughout the 1970s and 1980s, the detectives regarded him as a key suspect in Carol's case. However, despite the evidence against him, Tate consistently denied any role in her death. The detectives hoped their investigation would eventually lead them to the true culprit, but their expectations were shattered when Tate's DNA failed to match the evidence found at the crime scene. Tate was also living in Cincinnati in 1976, according to court records, which ruled out his involvement in the crime. The detectives wondered if they would ever be able to solve this long-running case, which had lain dormant for nearly 50 years. The case remained unsolved until the Boone County Sheriff's Office contacted Othram Lab on September 17, 2022, because of their expertise in genetic genealogy. The Kentucky State Police Central Forensic Center sent a DNA sample from the 1976 crime scene to Othram Labs with funding from the Season of Justice. A team of expert scientists in Othram was able to create a complete DNA profile for the real suspect using advanced forensic-grade genome sequencing. With the aid of advanced technology, they were able to access priceless genetic data that had been kept secret for many years. Based on the comprehensive DNA profile they had created, the forensic genetic genealogy experts at Othram Labs used genealogy to generate leads for investigations. In a startling turn of events, Othram Labs provided a response on November 25, 2022, less than 2 months after receiving the DNA samples. By examining the genetic data left by the murderer, they identified a link to a man named Thomas W. Dunaway, who had passed away in 1990 at the age of 33. More research revealed that Dunaway had a son, but the boy had never met his father. The investigators made the trip to meet with Thomas Dunaway's son, whose identity was kept secret, in order to collect DNA samples for comparison. The outcomes of these significant laboratory examinations would hold the key to unlocking the mystery that had long eluded law enforcement. Detectives meticulously gathered the required samples with a desire to learn the truth and a firm commitment to justice. In January 2023, the case's lengthy investigation came to a conclusion. After nearly 47 years, Carol Sue Klaber and her family received justice when Dunaway's son's DNA partially matched the traces of DNA they had discovered on Carol's body years earlier. This was made possible by the use of cutting-edge technology and the detectives' dogged determination for justice. Although the process was difficult, the perseverance of those involved had paid off, leading to a discovery that would provide comfort to everyone impacted by the tragic events of 1976. The Carol Sue Klaver murder case was never given up on by the police. Thomas W. Dunaway, who was 19 years old at the time and was born on May 20, 1957, was able to remain undiscovered for a very long time. Detectives were able to learn important details about Dunaway's past and the terrible things he had done by being persistent and keeping an open mind. When Carol was last seen at her home with a man who resembled him, the police learned that he resided close to Davo Park. As they dug deeper, more negative information about Dunaway came to light. Dunaway was a persistent criminal. His 6-month crime spree had left a trail of evidence in the form of the vehicles he had driven away from each crime scene. Just 6 months after Carol Sue Klaber's death, in December 1976, he was found responsible for another murder, so the horror did not end there. Ronald Townsend, who was only 19 years old, was discovered lying on the ground shot to death. The news devastated the neighborhood, but Thomas Dunaway's capture and admission of guilt in Townsend's murder helped lift people's spirits. Dunaway received a life sentence, but sadly, he was only imprisoned for 7.5 years before being released in 1984. His release left the community questioning whether justice had truly been served. Detective Coy Cox uncovered the chilling pattern of violence and darkness that defined Dunaway's life. While Carol's murder may not have been solved, law enforcement managed to expose the full extent of Dunaway's deadly and menacing reign of terror. The murders of Ronald Townsend and Carol Sue Klaver bore eerie similarities. Both victims were left in plain sight, just inches from the road, as if the killer intended to send a message. As the investigation unfolded, authorities discovered that Dunaway had been absent without leave from the Army at the time of Townsend's murder. Just 9 days after Carol's death, he enlisted in the military, initially stationed at Fort Knox before being transferred to Fort Carson in Colorado. Despite joining the military, Thomas Dunaway couldn't seem to avoid trouble. His deep passion for cars ultimately led to his downfall. He traded his cherished 1973 Chevrolet Monte Carlo for a striking orange Chevrolet Vega, drawn in by what he believed to be a great deal. He had no idea, though, that the detectives looking into the murder of Ronald Townsend would be drawn specifically to this flashy car. Dunaway and his orange Vega were the targets of an all-points bulletin that the detectives relentlessly pursued. On the gloomy Christmas Eve of 1976, Dunaway was apprehended in South Carolina on suspicion of Townsend's murder and an unlawful possession of a firearm, putting an end to a long game of cat and mouse. The relationship between Carol Sue Claver and Thomas Dunaway has investigators perplexed as they look deeper into the mysterious case of Carol Sue Claver's murder. It's possible that Carol and Dunaway ran into each other when they were young and attended Erlanger-Ellesmere schools, but it's not clear how they ended up connected. However, in the midst of the confusion, Detective Coy Cox provided a crucial hint that might help solve the mystery. It's possible that Carol's love for the Val Park led to a chance meeting with Dunaway. The park held a special place in Carol's heart. She had a reputation for being extroverted, so it's possible that's how she met him. Maybe they just happened to cross paths in the park, and as they laughed and shared stories in the calm environment, they became acquainted. There is no doubt that the park is significant to their relationship because Dunaway lived close to where Carol used to ride her bike. There was a mixture of relief and sorrow following the identification of Thomas Dunaway as Carol Sue Claver's murderer. The news that Dunaway passed away on December 28, 1990, at the young age of 33, left the family feeling conflicted, even though the authorities consider the case to be closed. Even though the Claver family is aware of the truth, justice still seems elusive to them. Thomas Claver bemoaned that he couldn't help but wonder what justice meant anymore, and wished he could have confronted Dunaway before his death. Thomas Claver has been haunted by the memory of his sister's murder. He has carried this burden for almost 50 years, never being able to completely let go of the worry that his family might experience another tragedy. He calls his 28-year-old son, Daniel, late at night because he is so concerned about his safety. Like he lost his beloved sister, he is afraid of losing anyone else who is important to him. It's a fear that holds him in a vice-like grip and serves as a constant reminder of how fleeting life is and how vital it is to cherish the people we care about. The thought of disturbing his sister's final resting place was intolerable to Thomas Claver. His heart ached at the thought of disturbing her peaceful sleep in order to find her killer. Thankfully, investigators discovered an alternate route. They succeeded in exhuming the body of Carol Sue's killer instead of her remains. The fact that his sister can finally find peace and the small victories are what matter most to Thomas. The recent court order for Detective Cox to exhume Dunaway's body for DNA testing is proof that his commitment to seeking justice knew no bounds. Detective Cox was prepared to face whatever challenges lie ahead. The procedure of entering the DNA into Cody's may be just the start of a new chapter in the pursuit of justice. After almost 50 years, Carol Sue Claver received her justice. Although her killer cannot be prosecuted in a court of law, Boone County Commonwealth's attorney Lewis Kelly has officially declared the case closed. Detective Cox became emotional as he recalled the bittersweet moment of informing Carol's brother that, after all these years, her murderer had finally been identified. While the past cannot be changed, the truth brings a sense of closure and relief in the face of such tragedy. After 46 years, Detective Coy Cox and his team have finally solved the mystery of Carol Sue Claver's murder, naming Thomas W. Dunaway as the perpetrator. No matter how much time passes, this case highlights the unwavering dedication of law enforcement in seeking justice for victims and their families. What do you think about this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Moving on to the next mystery. In October 1985, authorities discovered partial skeletal remains inside a plastic bag near Channel Islands Harbor in Oxnard, California. The Ventura County Sheriff's Office responded and determined that the remains belonged to a woman estimated to be between 35 and 50 years old at the time of her death. However, no further identifying details were available. In 2016, the case was entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. A clay facial reconstruction was created and shared with the public in hopes of generating new leads. Over the years, investigators followed multiple leads and conducted comparisons in an attempt to identify the woman. Despite their extensive efforts, no matches were found, and the case eventually went cold due to a lack of viable information. In May 2023, the Ventura County Sheriff's Office Cold Case Unit, in collaboration with the Ventura County Medical Examiner's Office, submitted forensic evidence to Othram. They were hoping to determine if advanced DNA testing could help identify the woman. Othram scientists successfully developed a DNA extract from the provided evidence. They used forensic-grade genome sequencing to build a comprehensive DNA profile for the unknown woman. Othram's in-house forensic genetic genealogy team then used this profile to conduct extensive genetic genealogy research, ultimately providing new investigative leads to law enforcement. A follow-up investigation was conducted using the new leads. This led investigators to potential relatives of the woman. A reference sample was collected from a potential relative and compared to the DNA profile of the woman. After nearly 40 years, they had a positive identification of the woman, who is now known to be Gertrude Elliott Littlehill, born in 1864. While Gertrude's life ended in 1915 and was buried, law enforcement received a tip several decades ago that a grave had been robbed and a skull was taken. This was Gertrude's grave that had been disturbed. Gertrude was laid to rest in the Stockton Rural Cemetery. Gertrude was born in Red Bluff in 1865. When she was young, the Elliots moved to Stockton, where Gertrude's father became a prominent attorney. At the age of 16, she graduated high school and, with her remarkable talent for music, was admitted to the Boston Conservatory. Young Gertrude was soon studying in Paris and traveling the world as a musician. But home still called to her. And by adulthood, she was settled back in Stockton, teaching piano and singing. It was in this capacity that she touched countless young lives who came to dearly love Miss Elliott. In addition to her teaching jobs, she was the president and founder of the Saturday Afternoon Club, a women's club that brought renowned musical acts to Stockton. In 1907, at the age of 42, Gertrude and her longtime partner, James Littlehill, decided to marry. The following year, they joyfully welcomed a baby daughter named Louise. However, their time together as a family was tragically brief. In December 1915, Gertrude developed an acute case of appendicitis. She underwent surgery in San Francisco and initially appeared to be recovering, but 2 weeks later, she unexpectedly passed away. Her sudden death at the age of 50 deeply affected those who loved her. She was laid to rest beneath a large headstone, which, over half a century later, may have drawn the attention of a grave robber. Despite Gertrude having passed away nearly 110 years ago, scientists at Othram successfully extracted DNA from her skeletal remains. Using an ultra-sensitive DNA profile and genealogical research, they were ultimately able to identify her remains. Moving on to the next mystery. Pamela Cainez was born and raised in Stillwater, Minnesota. At 25 years old, in 1984, she joined the Navy, leaving her family behind to begin training at the Orlando Naval Training Center in Florida. Sadly, she never had the chance to fulfill her aspirations. Just 2 days after graduating in August 1984, her body was discovered in front of an abandoned home in Sanford, Florida. She had been assaulted and strangled. Investigators recovered DNA from an unidentified male on her body. In 2005, they attempted to find a match but were unsuccessful. A breakthrough finally came in 2015 when DNA from Pamela's clothing was sent to a private forensic genealogy service for further analysis. Investigators were able to access DNA profiles of individuals who submitted their DNA to genealogy websites. They found a match to a distant relative of Pamela's attacker. Investigators began to build a family tree and eventually led them to Thomas Lewis Garner. He worked as a dental hygienist in Jacksonville, Florida. Thomas was a classmate of Pamela back in 1984. Investigators needed to confirm they had the right suspect. To do so, they collected a discarded cigarette he had smoked. The DNA from the cigarette matched the samples taken from beneath Pamela's fingernails. As a result, he was arrested in March 2019. However, the motive for the crime has not yet been disclosed. Pamela's surviving family members were overjoyed when investigators informed them of the arrest, finally bringing them a sense of justice and closure. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed exploring these intriguing unsolved mysteries with me. If you found the video fascinating, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Unsolved Mystique for more deep dives into unsolved mysteries. Your support helps me bring you more compelling content. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or any mysteries you'd like me to cover next. See you in the next video.